David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. Okay, standing in front of my Live and Let Die display, I'm wearing this shirt, Trespassers Will Be Eaten. Yeah, we're hearkening back to Live and Let Die, but this is kind of an interesting video, and it may be a bit divisive. It may be a bit controversial, but you know something? We're going to dive into it anyway, because this is the Bond Experience, and this is about talking about the experience of homage watches, paying homage to a particular watch style, watch brand, sometimes, if you're lucky, in connection to a movie. Even luckier if you're connected to a Bond movie. And that's what this is about. There is a company out there, and here's the box we're talking about right here, Watch Experimental Unit, WMT. They're based overseas in Asia. They use Japanese movement within their watches, but they're about paying homage to certain watches that are out there. Now, your spidey sense may be going off, but it's important to start off with a bit of a definition of what is an homage watch. And before I get into that, there is something called talent to task. It's a corporate theme, it's a corporate scenario, but it's essentially saying that the best person for the task is the one that has the most talent to talk about it. I am not that person. I am a quasi-watch guy in the sense that I love beautiful watches. I own some myself, and that's where my expertise ends. So what we are doing is I'm putting a link below if you want more information about homage watches, and especially even this company's homage watches. Go see my friend's link below, the Urban Gentry. Yes, TGV, you probably know him. You probably watch him. You may even have seen the video I'm referring to, but he goes into detail of this company and the definition and the difference between counterfeit watches, which are big no-no. That's where they're replicating the exact brand and logo and everything. And homage watches, which takes the essence and style and basically caters and connects to people that A, maybe can't afford the watch, B, maybe can't find the watch because it's so rare, or C, it's a little bit of a cosplay situation. We're going to talk about that. But this one, as you can imagine, this was something that I saw from this company. They were good enough to send me one of these to take a look at. I have not opened the box, but this is their homage watch from and inspired by Live and Let Die. We're going to open this up right in front of you. We're going to give you a full review and discussion. It is basically an homage to the Rolex 5513. Now, why is this a little bit more special to me than just Live and Let Die? Because my father-in-law, when I first met him, had the correct circa era Rolex 5513. He got it for a song way back when, and he had it, he wore it, and ladies and gentlemen, he sold it for $100. Yeah, his wife, my mother-in-law, basically said it didn't keep good time. You should sell it. And he did, to a friend, for $100. So, I mean, I tell him story after story of like, you know, that we could have just put a couple $1,000s into it, but he knows, and he's made good choices since then. So listen, we don't hold it against him. Mark Hazard, you're still aces in my book. But because of that, you know, I have an actual real Rolex upstairs in my watch collection. That is a no date, so it looks like the 5513. It's a modern interpretation, but this is an homage watch that connects directly back to some of the gadgetry and scenes from this movie. So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. Okay, and we're off to the races. Pretty plain box, and that's totally fine. It's just obviously, you know, for packing reasons. It came in a nice bubble wrap, but here it is. We'll get rid of that box right here, and it's well protected, as you can see. So let's get into it. And again, we're going to try not to cut. This is, we always want to give you the experience of what it's like to get one of these to open it, so we tend not to cut. All right, there it is. Watch Experimental Unit, WMT Corpse Depot Supplies, the original vintage watch store. They haven't been around for a while, so Couple of years of doing this, making custom watches, and the hardest part is finding out how to open this. All right, so, oh, that's quite nice. That's actually very professional looking. The original vintage watch store. Our vintage design is especially for the watch collectors who have long preferred original look of timepieces by years of wear. Do not remove this label. Made by WMT Core's product wristwatch movement automatic. Interesting. Yeah, and this is what I've heard. Oh, I like this pull tab. This is what I've heard about this company, that they try to keep the same look, feel of the vintage watches that they are based on. Oh, this pulls out very nice slide. Okay, there we go. And I'll put that down carefully. And we've got kind of like a foam to protect. Oh, and there it is. Okay, so you can see that it nestles inside of here. Now, I knew that it wasn't going to be a box that represents, you know, the Homage brand or anything like that. So I'm fine with this. It well protects it in its travels. You've got some really cool things here, though. You've got obviously a watch tool, which is very cool. This is the extra pins, all right, up here, which is a nice thing. And also you could put the links in here to store them so you don't lose it. But here is the watch itself. And it's in there really good. It's got like the little tab and stuff like that. So we're going to take that out. Okay, so happily this was in there pretty good. We'll leave this right here for now. So here is the watch in all of its glory. Let me get up nice and close so you can see that. It's wrapped. It's wrapped very well. So we've got to take this plastic off, but this is to protect the brushed look of this. Let's take off all the wrapping and we'll give you a really good look at it. Okay, so now the plastic is off and you can really see some of the details of this watch. By the way, the plastic that was on here, it was back, front, back of the dial itself, but it had instructions on the plastic with these little green arrows that told you basically how to remove this, so it wasn't too much of a puzzle. But take a look at the up close. Now I hope you can see this. We'll try to show some really good pictures of this. The bezel itself has been designed to be the bezel from the movie. If you remember from the movie, it was a buzzsaw. It cut through rope. It cut through different things. It was magnetic, and that replicates this extremely well. We'll see how good my iPhone is in getting up and close to this. You can see some of that in there. Really impressive. Now, I pulled the crown out to show you the special gadget feature of this watch. So take a look at this. You see how it's basically goes from the white to the red. Yee! I'm giddy. That is so cool. That is like a childhood fantasy coming true. If you remember from the movie, when the watch became magnetized, it would turn red. So when he was at the crocodile farm, but also when he was undoing the dress of the other agent and he wanted to magnetize it, he kind of just did that, and all of a sudden it was magnetized, and you know the spoon whoosh, came flying out. It would be magnetized. Just a super cool thing. And a little fun factor. Now that does obviously connect on cosplay. It doesn't have any proper or real function other than just showing another Bond fan how kind of badass this watch is. And by the way, you can absolutely keep it on. These gloves are just so much fun. You can keep it and screw the crown down and keep it on red. You can keep it on white. It's your choice. It's dealer's choice. So let me screw in the crown. Okay, there we go, there we go. So there we go, back to the watch. Now, obviously, this is an homage watch. It's not trying to replicate the Rolex branding on it, but the the bracelet itself, the way it clasps, even the way it has the crystal. And let's talk about some of the aspects of this because I think it's really important. First of all, the movement itself is a Seiko NH35 automatic. There are a couple discussions and points about that of, should they put a better movement in there? It's arguable. This is a $540 watch. So a lot of it is, the money is being put into, I think, the R&D, the movement, not so much, but obviously the way it looks. Speaking of case material, you want something, even though this is, this may be a display for some people or a knock around or even, like I said, a cosplay watch. Since it is an homage, you still want it to last. So the case material is a 316L stainless steel. The case diameter, nice size. It's a 39.5 millimeter, feels like a 40. 39.5 is a good size. It's the correct size for the 5513 homage. The case length itself is 47 millimeters. Case thickness, it's chunky. It is chunky, but so were the originals. I don't know if I took a caliper to this exactly where this would measure, but the case thickness is 14.8 millimeter. The case finish is a polish brush finishing, and you can see that pretty well in the light. It's got a really nice, beautiful polish brush finishing. I absolutely love that. Look at that. Look how that picks up the light. I am impressed. Case back is a stainless steel, and it's screw down. The strap material, or the strap, is a metal bracelet. The strap size is 20 millimeters. You can see where the wetting happens. And the glass. So this is important because this is where I think there's a really nice deference, a nod, an homage to the original. It is a double-domed acrylic crystal. Okay, so really important to know. And the water resistance is 10 ATM, pretty decent, but we'll get nice and close there. You can probably see my alpha reflection in there. Oh, look at that little live and let die snake action in the reflection. But all right, let's talk about this because I want to go over not just the details of the watch. Let's take a look at the crown. Let's take a look at the side. Let's take a look at the movement. Nice and smooth. You can see it there. You could take a look at everything is very clear. There isn't any kind of misfit type of situation where I'm looking at this going, ooh, shoddy. And the bracelet itself feels good. But let's chat about the watch a little bit more. So, been holding this watch for maybe 20, 30 minutes doing this video. And I've got to tell you, it feels good. It's that whole kind of feeling of a watch. Does it feel the part, especially as an homage? You don't want something that's going to feel like a toy. We've all had that. But this one doesn't. This feels like it's been made with quality and confidence in mind. Now, I have not sized this, but I wanted to just kind of show you when I put it on, it really does kind of look the part. And that's what an homage watch should do. By the way, I'm going to play with the crown a little bit right in front of you as I'm talking and get it back to the white. And it's really easy to do that. You just pull the crown out as if you were setting the date and then just play with it, pull it, and then push, and you're done, which is really kind of nice. The bezel itself moves very easily. You can see now it's not going to create a buzzsaw effect. It's a $540 watch, folks. It's not going to act as a buzzsaw, but I love the fact that the bezel on there has those cutting blades. I mean, to me, that is just such a cool look and piece to it. Now, the kit that comes with it right here, with the watch tool and the links, etc., I think is a really nice touch. I did not expect that. There was a little sneak peek in the Urban Gentry's video that showed that, so I did sort of know that I was going to be getting that. But all in all, as I'm looking down to it, I'm going to ask myself a few questions. And these are the questions that you should probably ask yourself when purchasing any homage watch. The first question, the most important one, is why? An homage itself, the very definition of it, is some sort of deference, nostalgic connection to something else. It's a deferential, respectful nod. And to me, I cannot get a 5513 Rolex. And because of that, this is a wonderful, fun moment for me to connect back to that watch, my father-in-law's story, my favorite Roger Moore movie. It has a lot of whys to it from a nostalgic and homage standpoint. There is a fun factor, right? That's one of the questions I have to ask myself. Am I having fun with it? And by the way, There are watch purists. Watch the Urban Gentry's video. You'll hear a lot about this. There are watch purists out there that hate homage watches. They think they're an abomination to humans, and I'm sure I'm going to get some comments in here on that. And I can understand that. I do get it. You know, it straddles, you know, it's not counterfeit watches, but it straddles and says, hey, why don't you do your own designs? But this does satisfy a market. And I think for many people, and let's be real, for many people, this satisfies and scratches an itch for people that can't afford, you know, a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 watch. And on top of that, it's fun. That's the thing we sort of forget with watches. You know, we're trying to have more people enter into the watch fray and just get into this fun hobby. And this is a great entry watch in the sense that it's going to keep great time from what I've heard. So the movement's great. It's going to hold up. Yeah? It's made out of all the materials you would want a watch to be made out of. It's got that smile fun factor of, hey, I really enjoy this watch and I'll wear it with things. So for someone that's not so much into watches like myself or, you know, Lorenzo Omega watches or any of the big watch people out there, the Urban Gentry, this is a nice entry point. I think it is scratching an itch. That's okay. It's, again, opinion, right? It's your point of view, but these are not illegal. They aren't. You know, people may say philosophically, is it correct? That is a good question. Now, that dovetails into my biggest question. Am I going to wear this? And I would say that 99.5% of the time, I will hearken back to my Omega watches. I just will. I'm just being real with you. We know each other, right? I can be real for a second. I'll go to my box, I'll go to my watch box and I'll pick out an Omega watch that has a connection to me. I love the brand. I love my Omega watches. Each one has a journey and story. This one doesn't. This one has a connection to a film. It's got a lot of fun factor. It feels like cosplay. Now, if I was doing a live and let die cosplay, going to see the movie, dressing up in an outfit that harkens back to this, I would consider wearing this. But again, that straddles the line of cosplay. Maybe if I was doing things around the house, I would probably wear this as well. But to dress up in a tuxedo, for example, to go to a big Bond event overseas, I'd still pick out my Omega. But that's because I have an Omega. For some people who don't, this is, I don't know, this is a pretty cool thing. So I think the company WMT, this watch experimental unit, which the name is interesting in of itself, that it's a grand experiment in homage watches. I know that Seiko does homage watches. Many of you own them. This is an interesting foray, and you know, it feels good. It's not like this is a piece of crap that I've received. This is actually a very good quality piece that has the fun factor. I would even dare say exceeded my expectations as far as what this is. And that, to me, is all I expected. So you make your own decisions. We're going to leave a link to the company. We're going to leave a link to the Urban Gentry's video. I would watch his video first, then make your decisions, and we'll go from there. But as usual, and I know this is going to be, this will be an opinionated one, and that's fine. All opinions count. Don't worry about it. You're not going to offend me. This is the World Wide Web. It's not personal, unless you make it. So don't. But leave your comments below. And again, this has been David Zaritsky signing out for the Bond Experience. Where did that come from? I'm not going to do that again. It's been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. We'll see you all real soon. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.